life insurance policy, so I don't know that I'm willing to do that.
Oh, it helps if I actually monitor the chat. That'd be helpful. Yes. That's going now to let people know we exist, because that's important generally. No. That. Right. Oh. Hello everyone, this is the Electric Metropolis video game tour. I am AD Springer, also known as Corbinian, and today we'll be running, once more, Traveler 5, some role-playing adventures in the science fiction, role-playing game in the far, far future. And let us get rolling right into it. It is the year 1111 of Imperial Reckoning of the Third Imperium. The Third Imperium is in the height of its golden age, enjoying the rulership of Emperor Strefon Alia Akalokwe. I will say that different every time. Long may he reign. It has been a full year since the armistice ended the Fifth Frontier War between the Jordani Consulate and the Third Imperium, with a return to status quo de jure, but de facto the Sword Worlds Confederation have lost many of its worlds to become a new Imperial client state formed in the aftermath. A year of postbellum in the Spinward Marcher sector has seen a dynamic shift of recovery, renewal, and opportunity for many a traveler to benefit from, not the least of which the lifting of the sector-wide amber status by the Travelers' Aid Society. Between the interests of the mentalist Jordani, the Imperials, with their Darien Confederation allies, seeking to uphold their self-appointed warrant of restoration, and the fiercely independent sword wielders, the will of humanity is made manifest in courts of high pageantry, to the respectable private courts of TAS member lounges, to courts low and dark of spacer bars. Among the million stars, we look to the world of Galantine, and specifically to a hotel lounge of the Gallium Star Hotel in Kersburg, the capital of this ancient, well, not so ancient world, I suppose. And we look upon retired Major Hervor Angusdotter and the Ursine Tarbin Arctos, who are now without their scholarly friend, Professor Calvier, who has found other responsibilities to attend to. But there are still opportunities awaiting them in the shadows of the Hearthfires.
I think last time we had agreed to take the contract for looking into what the Church of Magadal is up to.
Yeah, I mean,
we were just debating how to carry that out.
Yeah, honestly, for the moment, I say we stick a pin in that. I mean, we've taken the contract. I don't think that's something that we're going to be able to do in the 3 days or whatever before we ship out. I think that's something we just sort of keep our eyes out and start to, take advantage of. But I would like to go see Rani Petrov at Susag and see what her 31,000 opportunity is. Not to mention that if we get in good with Susag, that might enable us, because she mentioned other opportunities, it might give us an end to go weasel our way into Anselholm, which is the source supposedly of the plague, because Susag is definitely involved in whatever's going on there.
Then I'll ask the hotel clerk to have a grav car sent for us, because I assume this is a fancier hotel, so they probably have a service like that.
You still have the one you rented.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Oh, can they have someone bring it around and then
I didn't pay to valet park. We were going to walk into the parking deck. Valet park. That's just a waste of funds.
But why stay here if you're not going to use the amenities?
Well, we are using the amenities. We're using the free parking.
All right, then I'll make a call before
Wealthy
I walk
bears
into
own-
the
Wealthy bears don't stay wealthy by spending money on fripperies.
I wouldn't know. I've only met one bear. Then before we get into the parking garage, I'll call that number back and accept the contract.
Which number again? Sorry.
For the mysterious. I don't even. Is the guy
Colonel
I
or something,
called
was it?
for we were talking about this? The guy that had the contract for. I don't know if
It
I
wasn't
got
the
his
captain.
name. No, he was actually an antagonist of the captain.
Hmm.
I don't remember. I want to say he was a colonel or something, but he may have been something else. Yeah, we don't have his. I didn't get his name, but is like he called me in the hotel with the job on finding out about what the Church of Magadal was up to and see if we could expose any corruption.
Okay. That would be Edgar, I believe it is. Edgar Daggerson, the merchant.
That sounds right.
Before we get into that, though, let's get your intuitions figured out. 2d6 for each of you. 7, 8.
Coming in second's kind of powerful when there's only 2 people.
Yeah.
So the high roll gets insight. Why don't we blank? So that goes to the major. And the second, Arctos gets curiosity. Why is that blank? Or luck. And luck, sorry, I should say. Which will allow you to... Yep, you get both because there's only 2 of you.
Because you're second place and last place.
Yep. And those are independent of each other. So you have curiosity and luck currently.
Right. Cool.
So you place a call for Daggerson.
Yeah.
Small crowd. Yeah, it happens, Arthur. It happens. But Traveler can be flexible when it needs to be. Do you just get an audio call, or do you try to pull them on a video call?
No, just an audio call.
This is Daggerton.
The team agrees to the terms and the contract is accepted.
Well, you have my contact information. Once you've assembled the relevant evidence, I will gladly reward you.
Let's hope this leads to more business in the future, and then I'll close the call because I don't really have anything to talk with him about.
Okay. There is something I should warn you of. I have heard recently. As you're about to let him go, he pipes in.
Okay.
I've heard that there is an increase of their zealots in Karasbog, so if you're going to do anything there, I would exercise caution.
You could say that I have unqualified immunity.
Very well, Major. Hopefully you're right.
If I'm not, it's my price to pay, not yours.
He chuckles and lets the call go at that point.
Yeah, then I'll catch up with Tarvin and go to the car.
While Herver was making her call, Tarvin will call Susag. I think we have Rainey's card. Yes. And set up an appointment. Let them know we're coming. Whatever.
Oh, with
Rainey Petrov.
yeah.
Or Ronnie, I guess.
Yep, she'll they'll let you know that they are the time slot is still open for you to meet them.
Nice.
And actually, they're even going so far as to invite you to. They're willing to meet you for lunch at the Iridium restaurant that they have in the mega corporate headquarters, so you don't have to meet in the office. You can be a little more relaxed.
Sounds good to me. It's called the Iridium Restaurant.
Yep, because the building itself is clad in glittering iridium.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
little expensive way to deck out your building, just, compared to the more traditional, darker, militant buildings of Kurzbach.
I should say. Yeah. So, do we have any time between now and then, or will we make it over there right about time?
She's willing to have a breakfast with you or a lunch. It's good with her either way.
All right, let's go on over then.
Isn't iridium super expensive and slightly radioactive? Yes. And in Traveler, super important for AI technology.
Also, when you can reliably mine comets and stuff, it kind of doesn't matter anymore what the mineral is worth.
So the two of you climb into your grav lifter and lift away from your hotel. And the flight isn't terribly long before you find yourselves. Why is my tongue tingling now? So you're going over to the mega corporate headquarters for Susag?
Yep.
My understanding? Okay.
Yep.
And that is how they died. No. Oh, no, it's right. It does not want to cooperate when I do that. There we go. Without much resistance, the mega corporate security lets you know that where you can land. And normally, when you guys landed here last time, it was on the topmost part of the building, the part that's most exposed to artillery. But they actually direct you into one of the executive parking areas nestled within the housing of the tower itself. And when the two of you step out of your grav lifter, you find yourselves in the presence of some far more. I mean, they're still in the SUSAG corporate uniform, the suit and tie and very Villani formalism and tradition to it, but it looks a lot less militant. You don't see like open arms or obvious sheens of armor. There's still the reflect sheen that you can kind of catch off their outfits, but they're a lot more subtle in their presentation, and they are far less. They aren't in an escort formation when you approach them. They are instead just kind of gesturing for you to follow them, much like a concierge would guide you through a hotel.
Very good. I'll follow along.
And you will find yourself in a bit of the tower that is looking out into the city itself. You can see the various grav vehicles flittering around, but you can't hear it due to the soundproofing of the windows. You can hear soft music being played as various officials, executives high and low, are and just general employees of the building are having their breakfast before they head off to work. There are some visitors like yourselves who are obvious, but it's obvious who's an employee of SUSAG and who isn't. Like if there's those who aren't SUSAG stand out as much as the two of you stand out.
Right. So, just out of curiosity, you said there was kind of a mix of executives and employees. Does this seem to be like a fairly egalitarian dining situation as far as hierarchy in the company, or are there definite parts of the room that are for the C-suite and parts of the room that are for middle management and then on down to regular folk?
I would ask for a social standing roll, I think, to get a measure of the area. Oh, no, sorry. That's incorrect. Intelligence, 2d6.
Okay. Argument to add steward.
Yeah, I would take steward. Totally would.
Okay. 12. For 12 or less. Yes.
We're in SUSAG, the Shunman An Shong AG.
They provide order.
Looking about and getting a measure of the area, it seems that these are those of the executive branch and their immediate staff. So those who you don't see any rank and file employees here.
Okay.
Beyond the security, and even then the security they're too well dressed to be regular rank and file security. These are their elite security. And also note that this, even for a mega corporate like SUSAG is an old megacorp. It's been around since for the duration of the Third Imperium and a little bit before that, before the Warrant of Restoration. But it seems everything just seems a little bit excessive for what amounts to a breakfast restaurant, like where you would grab your coffee and bagel, before, or get your eggs before you head off to work. It just seems a bit much, even for an executive. And even then, having an executive-only restaurant that's this big seems a little odd. Usually they'd have like little tiny rooms as part of a restaurant, not like an entire.
Right.
You're like you can see that there's like other wings to this restaurant that you're not even in.
Interesting. Do we see? Oh yeah, there she is.
You're guided over to her table, and she gestures for the two of you to sit down. You notice that there is they have already set aside special seating for a person wearing the bulkier armor that Hervar's wearing, and also reinforced seating for an Ursine, so it's a little more comfortable for a bear person to sit in.
This is the first bear chair you've probably come across.
Because there's like the universal Sophont chair, which is like most Sophonts can sit in these. Is any decent company. This one's like, no, this is what Ursines would make if they wanted a comfy chair to sit in.
Right. Thank you for your gracious invitation, Madam Petrov.
Oh, it is of no trouble to me to be accommodating. It's merely a question of how accommodating you can be in return, really.
Well, as with most things, that depends on the details within the contract.
Yes, quite. Anything you would like to eat? Or have you already had your breakfast for the day? You know she already has ordered her own food, which is a rather elegant Valani spread of lean meats with finely dressed vegetables and a rather aromatic coffee that she's sipping away at.
Yeah, the bear will order a pot of coffee and breakfast of the mixture of, eggs, meats, and fruits.
Harold will go for coffee and whatever looks like it has the maximum number of carbs.
Ah, the tactical special. The waiter would posit, and they'll get you a rather hearty breakfast.
See, in my mind, I just had pancakes, but I didn't realize they had a whole, you're about to go on a important mission where you're probably not going to have a food source for 3 or 4 days, so eat this.
Yeah, it's like extra.
Your body's gonna...
Oh, go ahead.
Your body's going to need easily unsippable glucose. Here.
Extra protein powder in it. It's like, oh, this tastes a little chalkier. Oh. Don't worry, it's good for you. Like, okay.
Yeah, I realize I need to not eat anything else for the next 3 or 4 days or I'm going to put on a lot of pounds.
And actually, as you eat, it actually... When you get your food, it is, to your palates, it is the perfect taste on the palate. Like it's your favorite. It's like when they prepare the food, they prepare it in such a way that you would most prefer it. Like they didn't ask you specifically what you want, like you would order, but it's like it's just perfectly done, like it was made just for you. And it's the perfect portion size for your weight and your appetite.
The bear will call the waiter over and say, "My compliments to the chef. This is perfectly to my taste, and it is very unusual to find a largely humaniform staffed establishment to understand the portion size is appropriate to my people. My compliments."
I look at the meal and then over at the Ursine and I kind of lean over and say, I think your compliments might need to go to the synthesizer. Like
The-
it seems too perfect because it's the right portion.
Our engineers
Food.
of the newest range of SUSAG food synthesizers will greatly appreciate your feedback.
How disappointing.
There is never anything, I imagine, in Susag's. There's no one in Susag's employment whose position could not be automated, because they've all been automated.
I wouldn't say so, says Petrov. Sometimes it takes a sophantic mind to fully adjust to changing situations. Food is just a matter of nutrition and taste.
Undoubtedly, though I
The
imagine
bear
when
is horrified at
Susag
this.
gets their hands on a significant technological readout of some of the machines the Darians are building, even a Sophant's intelligence won't be needed anymore.
I must, however, just entirely disagree. The preparation of food is an art. Cannot be reduced to. I mean, any machine can make an adequate nutritional meal, and I must admit your machines are very good. But the art of cooking, of gastronomy, is an entirely sophantic experience.
They aren't merely good, Mr. Tarbin. They are the best in the Imperium.
The best
And it might
synthesizers in the Imperium.
might be true that Sophants have an edge in the art of cooking, but I don't think Susag cares for the art of cooking as much as Susag cares for reduced margins.
Well, of course. Isn't profit the end goal of any great megacorporation?
Speaking of profits,
Hmm.
perhaps you could tell us a bit more about this opportunity you mentioned last night.
She nods. Well, nothing wrong with getting straight to business. Specifically, my goal, as she sits back and relaxes a bit, sips at her coffee. Well, sipping is strong. She keeps it up to her mouth and seems to enjoy the aroma more than actually drinking the damn thing. I present to you the opportunity to make some 38,000 credits for how should I put it?
Carefully, I think.
Rather careful work, I suppose that'd be the way to put it, yes. The Border World Authority has made SUSAG operations difficult in its formation. As much as we have been trying to enrich the economy of this fledgling pocket empire, and trying to investigate certain health crises that they may be facing, it would be in my interests to see that the Border World Confederation realizes how precarious their position truly is on the interstellar stage.
I think there is an emperor somewhere who has recently done just that.
Oh, the Emperor is a fine man, a fair man. Long may he reign. She waves her coffee dismissively.
I'm sure there's something in the
obviously-
Empire where all Imperial citizens are just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I will not engage in that.
But the problem is that the Emperor is fine at securing. His intention is to create a buffer between the Sword World Confederation and the Jordani versus specifically the Sword World Confederation and the Third Imperium, which is fine for interstellar political and tactical strategic processes. However, when it comes to the real business of money and trade, the actual reason the Warrant of Restoration exists, I believe he's taken too soft a hand at ensuring mega corporate incursion into this new market that could be updated incredibly. But the Border World Authority is somehow misunderstanding their situation and thinking that they may be able to, of all things, perhaps designing themselves a new megacorp of some variety, which I could not possibly imagine. At any rate, to prove the point and drive it home, much like a ice bucket on a Hearthfire, I suppose, I would like, and I would pay, for any massive infrastructural, personnel, or governmental damage to send a message to the Border World Authority. Of course, if you find this unpalatable, she gestures at her whore. I know they are sword worlders, and you may have some sophantic loyalty to your ethnic group. But I would be willing to pay for some vital data, and that will help rebuff any punitive attacks they may wish to make against USAG. And of course, beyond the awarding of, or the bounty therein, of these services, there are certain items, I imagine, aspiring travelers would want to secure, and certain licenses across the trade lanes, that could benefit from a politically neutral and profit-driven organization such as SUSAG.
Well, granted, I have not been in this sector of space for terribly long, at least not in peacetime. But from everything I've been smelling lately, it seems that the Border World Authorities is getting some support from without the Empire, pretty significant support through various means, but particularly this Megatil Church. They seem to crop up every time I turn around with the government or the army or any sort of infrastructure. And if they're Jordani,
is Jordani conspiracy yet again infiltrating the wills of the free-minded peoples? That sort of angle?
It could be. I'm just stating facts. I'm sure someone as astute as yourself has noticed the tacit Border World Authority support for the actions of the church, and the church's quite open financial and I suppose you have to call it spiritual support for the government and its employees.
Perhaps then the church could make it on the acceptable target list.
Are the church's financial conduits?
Which we already have interest in.
Do you? Interesting. Very interesting.
Well, there are several different stakeholders from different sides of the Hearthfire, as it were, when it comes to the Border Worlds.
Well, should any great damage be accrued to the Border World, or any information that you wish to on influential members of the Authority, I could pay for that. Especially if they are linked with Jordani conspiracies.
What is your time frame for this operation?
Speed is preferable over finesse, I suppose would be the way to put it. I am reaching out to various freelancers and our existing mercenary contract structure is being briefed on these new and emergent opportunities. But I would take a bit of a reach on some new faces in the mercenary market, such as yourselves. Perhaps new pieces introduced to the board will be harder to see and predict. At least that is my gamble, if nothing else. So, that is to say, you have competition who are used to this work, glad to do the work, and would love to see my money before you. Though I wouldn't worry about them attacking you or any such things. We at SUSAG encourage competition, not brigandry. Those are Terran concerns, after all. I will note calling it a Terran concern is kind of a slur. She's just saying it rather openly. You wouldn't call Zolomani that. You would call him Zolomani.
But it's not like the bear has a particularly high opinion of them anyway, so.
Yeah.
Genocidal fucks.
Make me a dancer, will you? No,
I'll dance for you.
On your grave.
On your grave. All right. Well, we will certainly see what we can do for you. Although the explosions you might get from us may be more in the way of revelations than flying bricks.
GM, can I get clarification? Did she actually shift on accepting damage against the church as damage against the concerns of the border worlds, or did she kind of shift away, like bat that away as an opportunity?
Give me an intelligence roll of 2 dice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the church in and of itself doesn't concern her much. Because it's not the government, it's not the Border World's government that's buildings. But the information in them, pay data, that she can use, but the building she doesn't really care that much about. She doesn't care about the Church of McGottle in particular.
Okay, but I mean, this is potentially an opportunity to kill 2 contracts with 1 stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, then Hervor will say, we'll discuss the opportunity and notify you once we've made a decision.
Oh, there's only need to notify me if you are successful. If you are unwilling or unable, then we have no business to conduct. Unless, of course, you wish to reserve another luncheon, I suppose.
Then I
As
think
good as your
our-
synthesizers are, I think we might postpone another meal together until we can celebrate a success and perhaps the beginning of a longer relationship.
I appreciate your forward thinking.
Well, safe travels, and I guess we'll head on out.
As you two finish
So-
your as two of you
Oh, go
finish your meal and start to get up to go, she actually waves at the waiter or makes a gesture at him, and some people in bright white suits come over and they stand way out. They walk over to you and they have little gift bags they hand to you. Parting
How
gifts.
delightful.
Can I look at the items?
Don't be gauche. Wait till we're outside.
She already thinks I'm subhuman, so.
Certainly.
She's just asked me to commit terrorist acts against a government whose military I served in for like almost 30 years.
Well, to be
So-
fair, you didn't serve in the Border World Authority's military. You
No,
served in the
I
civil-
served in Galatia's military, which is a border world.
Come on,
Well,
it's
Galatia's
Border War-
military isn't there's no overall military structure
Right.
until there's a war, right? Meaning
that's
that
fair, but remember, the Border Worlds are new. That they're the imperial puppet state that came out of the war. They used to
yeah,
be-
and the army that they have is the army I used to serve in.
Look, I'm not attacking the French. I'm attacking Vichy French. It's different.
Yeah, insulting everyone in the south of France, not just France. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Well-
me.
To be fair, the resistance would say that the Vichy French were very different. To the
Yeah, that is.
there was a lot of stuff going on there.
But do you do peek into the bag?
I
We'll take
rifle
your
through
time.
it, take things out, just look.
As you looking through it, you see there's a variety of items. One moment, actually, let's see how lucky you are. Fairly
There's
lucky. One
a
moment.
coupon for battle armor. Ooh.
Wrong company.
Okay.
They hire a lot of mercenaries, but you know that's more. It's like, how do we outfit ourselves? There's companies for that. It's where we give you a paycheck. Buy it yourself. Because Susag's more of a pharmaceutical and agricultural company.
We get some of them combat drugs.
I was just making sure that we're just giving you random coupons to like, here you can eat, you can you get, here's a tour, here's a ticket to a tour of one of our buildings. There was a particular list I was going to grab from. What's it?
There's a list. If they're pharmaceutical, there is a list of drugs. Not that I don't. That might be kind of a weird thing to give out in a goodie bag, though.
I mean, it is Susag.
Yeah, it's fair.
They're a fairly sketchy organization.
Yeah.
They're just
First
legal.
one's free.
I forget which. Tick tick.
I remember looking through looking through the drugs and seeing the drugs didn't to me they didn't look incredibly damaging. Like, you can definitely manage using them.
Well, that's before you use Mark Miller's drug maker.
Isn't that? I'm assuming you can do that with Thingmaker.
Yeah, you can make anything with Thingmaker.
That's right.
Anything you want.
That's right. So what you do is you take thing maker and you make drug maker, and then you make drugs.
Oh, is that actually how it works?
Probably.
In essence.
I didn't look at thing maker because armor maker and gun maker were difficult enough to get my head around.
Yeah, I've played with thing maker and vehicle maker, and neither one of them quite worked for what I was trying to do. But
yeah, gun maker I think probably took me 2 or 3 hours to like get a working gun. Armor maker probably took another 3 or 4 of playing around with to get exactly what I wanted, and then making a ship. Right, it took me and you like 20 hours.
10 hours. 10 hours online together, and then whatever we spent outside.
Now, if you make all of that generic, I just don't even know. I mean, pharmaceuticals deal with chemicals. Chemicals, deal with explosives. Are there any explosives in here?
No, they're not arming you while in the presence of executives.
I mean, that would be useful for the job they just requested.
I am struggling to find there's a list of items that like of common use items that you don't have to create with ThingMaker. I'm struggling to find it.
In book 3, there's a whole like alphabetical table of all the things. That's where the drugs I was talking about.
That's where I was in book 1 the whole time. So I was
book 3 somewhere starting around page 175, I think.
Oh, I bet you're right. Yeah.
173 actually.
173. Equipment. Freaking stab me in the foot.
While he's looking that up, did you understand what wafer jacks do?
I know what they do.
Well,
yeah, they're basically
distract you from looking things up.
They basically let you plug directly into a computer.
Okay, so they're not
very dangerous.
They're not like a chip that you put in your brain that like gives you +1 to a skill or something.
It does that as well. You can put in a wafer into the wafer jack, and you will have that skill. In your head. It's just that every time you use that skill, there's a chance your sanity basically gets tested.
Which means
the longer you use it.
Yeah, you can probably expect to go insane by the 10th use or something like that.
Yeah. And it's also a way that the other use is jacking yourself into a computer, because that's how you plug your brain into a computer. Well, that's the only way to do it, really. You need a wafer jack to do it.
Do you still get a sanity check if you plug into an organic brain-based computer?
Plugging into computers is fine. It's when you put a wafer in. Because when you put a wafer in, you're taking the recorded engrams of a person who's experienced that, and you're living through their memories to know that, because you know all their experiences and the intricate part of it, but like that, it has the chance of overwriting your own personality. So basically the plot of Cyberpunk 77, frankly, just on a smaller scale. So a jack is like an eldritch tome. You might learn something, but at what cost? Oh no, you won't learn something. You will know it, chat. You will know that thing. It's just a matter of whether you will stop knowing it once you unplug, I suppose. Well, actually, no, you would if you unplugged it, yeah. Do you have a wafer jack, actually? Either?
No.
Okay, wanted to make sure, because otherwise she would have given you some wafers. It's like, there's no sense giving wafers to people who don't have a jack. It'd be completely pointless.
Is there a wafer jack in there?
No. She doesn't like you that much yet. You find... She wouldn't give you that. You know, she was being particularly nice today. She gives each of you a dose of a Susag branded panacea. And each a dose of Trank. Panacea basically is a universal cure for known pathogenic illnesses, and it makes you heal a lot faster. So you basically can, no matter what illness you have in general, you will recover in a week's time, just straight out.
Huh.
It's a tech level 9 drug, and very expensive. Whereas Trank's is a lot cheaper. It's straight up what you think it is. It's a tranquilizer dart that can knock someone out for 1D hours. That's what you see in your bag.
Oh, is this both of us or just?
That's just it. That's just Hervor.
Okay, yeah. The bear's gonna wait until we're the dining room before I go scrabbling through the gift bag. Wait till we get in the car.
Yeah, let's go to the car.
Back to the car you go. Take your seat. The well-dressed people leave you to your sheltered Grav parking area.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and check in the bag before I crank up. Although, actually, we're in the middle of the city. I can probably just tell the car to go back to the hotel.
Well, we don't know where we're going yet.
No, okay.
You find a single package of Susag nutrient supplement, which is a disposable container that has a slurry of protein, carbohydrate, and fats, and a cocktail of vitamins and glucose. However, this is one of the executive line, which has Volani spicing to it. So very aromatic spices from the Cillian Kingdom and so on.
Okay.
And
I'd rather just have the spices rather than all this other shit.
And actually, there is like a little a Susag Volani, traditional Volani spice bottle.
Oh, cool.
Not for resale, it says on across of it in big, bold, legal lettering.
So it has value to be resold.
Yeah, it totally does. Because you can't buy this from a store. It's only given out in gift bags from executives.
Now I can cook with it.
And they give you a olfactory enhancement sensory drug.
Whoa.
3 doses of it, in fact.
You're going to be able to smell across continents.
Smell in space.
Drugs. It's a drug that enhances that existing sense by positive flux for 1D hours.
Huh.
Multiple doses provide additive effects, but does not extend duration.
So oh shit.
Yeah, you literally could smell everything on the continent. So the food pack is an emery with all the texture of it. You pretty much Except it's actually, good for you. Nah, that's not fair. Modern MREs are pretty good. Generally pretty good.
Add that to my sheet here.
It would seem the ancient Petrov would really wanted to make a good impression on you. And actually, with on the back of the roll that you guys did earlier for measuring that restaurant, that was given your social standing. That they kind of were a little above and beyond. Usually you would give just one thing. They gave you they basically gave you multiple gifts, whereas normally you would only get one of those things.
Very pleasant.
So a very big show of wealth or and power. Excessive one might argue, but depends how couth or uncouth you may prefer your gifting.
Fair. So, seems to me now we've basically got two contracts to embarrass or figure out what's going wrong with the influence on the Border Worlds Authority. The question is, how do we go about getting some information that will help in this? Our programmer is off doing other things.
We have a contract to get some embarrassing information on the Church of Megadol, and we have a contract to damage the Border Worlds.
Well, the contract to kind of embarrass one way or another the Border Worlds Authority into perhaps a little bit.
Embarrass was like the alternative side version. The main intention is to harm them.
Well, but the whole point is, one way or another, either by blowing stuff up or releasing some compromising information, it embarrasses the Border Worlds and reminds them that, their government is in power, at least partially in the behalf of other powers, whether that's megacorps or the Empire.
We're in the car now?
You're in the parking lot in the grab lift. Tarbin, roll for me 3 dice social standing. She may, as a fellow Imperial citizen, she may have put something extra in your bag.
Okay.
It just occurred to me.
Rolling it straight against social.
Yeah, I can't think of any particular skill that would jump at me.
Okay. 10 or less then. Like there.
Oh, actually, it helps more because you're a TES member. She inside your bag as well. At the bottom, there does seem to be a rather mundane. Well, mundane. It's a SUSAG branded data pad, which a nice curiosity. But these are things you can buy pretty much anywhere with different skins and so on. But when you open it up and check at it. It actually shows, it details out that, it looks like a readout of research regarding an ancient, disease in the Sword Worlds. An old disease from the founders of the Sword World Confederation. And it details out a few planets upon which they want to do exploratory surveys. And then it occurs to you from reading this that it is, because it's very well laid out. It's laid out it's a scholar explaining to a functionary what they want and saying, hey, I want you to get this for me. Like, I'm asking for, I want you to get me access to these planets so I can do research there. And here's why. It looks like this is a scholar whose name who is conveniently left out, who wants access to the worlds of Winston, Enthrop, Anselholm, and Torment. And then a follow-up page of authorization pending further diplomatic encounters.
Which, of course, are those worlds right around that hex of hexes that I've been looking at. Yep. Introp, Winston, Anselholm, Torment. Yep. And Torment's where the pirates were captured that warned of a Sword World invasion on Darien space. Aha. That's interesting. Let the doctor look at that. So, how do we proceed?
Before we jump in the car, I'm gonna open the trunk and throw the goodie bag in there and indicate that Tarvin should do the same.
Okay.
And I'm gonna close it. I'm gonna be, and I'll just say, she struck me as the kind of person to involve herself in conversations she doesn't belong in.
Could be.
Then we can get in the car.
Okay.
And I will say, I'm all for completing our other contract by violently and quickly taking information from the Church of Magadal. They're interesting, they offer advancement, but they're not so fascinating or interesting that I'd pass up other offers that are against their interests. However, for this contract, I'll only tolerate it if we complete it by showing complicity between the Church of Magadal and the Border Worlds in a way that is more harmful to the Church than to the Border Worlds, even if some harm is done to the Border Worlds to justify our price.
Well, I mean, keep in mind that, we're not trying to harm the Border Worlds themselves. We're trying to harm the government thereof. Which, looks like it's already well on its way to being corrupt as hell, and, so probably
but their
shaking up the government.
The problem is their corruption, right, their further corruption is not in my best interest, because their further corruption indebts them to the Empire, makes them weaker.
Well, but it's not. We're not trying to corrupt them further necessarily, as to reveal their corruption, which
I'm willing to do at the expense of the officials that are in bed with the Church of Magadal, but I'm not willing to do at the expense of other people within the government. Right. I'm willing to hurt one faction within the government. I'm not willing to harm the government as a whole.
Right. Well, I think that honestly, if we find proof that the Church of Magadal is one way or another influencing, corrupting, worming its way into the government, making the government dance to its tune here and there, that accomplishes both ends, I think, because I don't think the government particularly wants that revelation. If we can connect it to Zidani, even better. It's not like the Zidani served the Sword Worlds particularly well by dragging them into that last war, and then when they made peace, they didn't even consult the Sword Worlds. So what should you care about the Zidani if we can connect them to all this?
To complete the second one, we're on a timetable. There are others vying for this, and
I mean, to be fair, there are others vying for all of our current jobs.
yeah, but none of the other people who've offered us jobs emphasized their interest in a quick resolution.
Right. So, okay. What if we're going to try and see if we can't kill the two birds with one stone of the Church of Magadal and the government/army? What exactly is your nefarious plan for getting that information out of the church?
Kick the front door open and steal a registration documents.
Registration documents for what?
That show all of the government ministers who are members.
Do you think it's really going to be that easy?
I'm pretty sure I know exactly which desk to grab it out of. Because that guy, if I remember right, that guy had hard copy stuff when we were talking to him. Like, he was pulling books out of desks and stuff. He also had a computer. Which I assume the computer could just be, like, removed from the desk. Obviously, between the two of us, we probably don't have the skills to get the information off the computer, but we can certainly take the computer, and then your friend here can get the damning information.
Right. Let's check on one thing though.
And
GM, do we have like is there like the internet on this planet, like a World Wide Web equivalent?
Oh yeah, yep. You're at it's a high tech though. They have internet.
Okay, so what is the law about? Are there any religious laws or laws that preclude or well, not even necessarily laws? What's this planet's attitudes towards the religious leanings of its government functionaries? Like, if we expose, okay, the minister of foreign affairs is a high-ranking member of the Church of Magadal, is that going to mean anything? I mean, is that going to appear at all untoward, or is it going to be like, revealing that a U.S. president goes to church regularly?
I will call that. That sounds very much like an advocate role you're asking me for. I will call that 3 dice education.
my thought was that we're right, there's a religious war going on. So if they lose their anonymity, right, the minister might be able to sometimes appear as for Magadal, sometimes hide behind it not being concretely known, his beliefs. But if Susag can motivate Asir militants to go after this guy because they have hard proof that he's a Magadal, then they can get fanatics to remove him from the government via murder.
Well, right, but I'm just saying, that kind of information might fulfill that contract, but let's just see how.
Yeah,
how this world's religious deal.
Do you have any points in advocate?
Oh, hell no.
Oh,
that's our professor,
let
I think,
me take a stab at it because of world knowledge, because we're specifically on this world.
Yeah, sure. And also with education, I'd have to use half of my training. So
can I attempt the same thing, GM?
With world knowledge, yeah. because there might be Galatian specific laws, or that'd be an optional thing, like advocate with an optional of this particular world because you're on this world.
And you said it was a 3d6.
Yeah. So I believe this is hard for you.
Yep.
I will say there is a positive mod for you because you're using the internet to help you look it up, and this is a high-tech world.
I assume that it doesn't take my world knowledge into account when calculating this as hard.
Yeah, because it's the optional. Yeah.
Plus what?
+1. So your target number is +1 is easier because the computers, the internet, the net of the planetary net's helping you.
And did you have a way to assist?
No.
Okay.
Let me double check, but I don't think. I mean, unless he'll let me add my computer of 1 to it.
You can assist with your computer of 1, yeah.
Okay.
That's a success. It's
Yay.
straight. No modifiers or world knowledge required. That's a success.
Very good. So the law is such that what faith you're part. There is no state religion per se in the Border World Authority. However, the religious laws of the Sword Worlds in general, Sword Worlder, and the Border World Authority has kind of retained those laws. They mirror what the Sword World Confederation has. So it is, you can practice whatever faith you want, and you are free from persecution for said faith, so long as it is not endangering. The legal language is so long as it does not endanger the Hearthfire of the Confederation. So if your faith makes you a traitor to the Confederation, then yeah, you're not. We're not persecuting you just because of your beliefs. We're persecuting you because you're a threat to the state, like a direct and present threat. Unless you're a zealot, at which point there's a judicial power that you take, and you basically are a soldier of that particular faith, and you're restricted to your counter-religion's targets. So that's kind of how the Church of Megadol and the Aesirs can fight each other openly, like openly kill each other or blow up each other's buildings, so long as they don't hurt non-religious members. So if you're not of the faith, a devotee of either faith, then you're kind of immune. You must be considered a non-combatant in that religious war. But yeah, if you can connect the Church of Megadol as a threat to the Confederation, then that would be something a government official would not want to be known for. They would have to either disavow it and denounce it, or risk being charged with imperiling the Hearthfire of the state.
Okay, so it seems to me like the first thing we need to do is find a proof that the church is a threat to the state somehow.
They probably have confidential documents on their computer about that.
Okay, well, who is this guy? What is his position in the church?
He's a low-level functionary, but he had instant access to a lot of information. It's not him that's interesting. It's what he had access to that was interesting.
Right, but I mean,
he's nobody.
Right, and I'm wondering if like a low-level functionary really would have access to any truly sensitive information. Well, I mean, that's because what we're talking about would be if in any
the other thing is
assault.
I know I have met people who are highly placed in the church. The problem is this functionary, he's at the top level of the church's organization because the church has no organization. there is no one higher in a hierarchy above him. But so there's no like other person who has a secret cache of information in a higher C-level office, right?
Right. Okay. So,
and if he's not a good enough target, Hervor knows several people who are influential members of the church because I've met them personally.
Well, and my other concern is going the direct knocking down the door, hey, give me your books kind of thing.
If
it turns us into criminals.
Only in the church's eyes. If we
well,
can get...
I'm pretty sure like breaking and entering and coercion.
No, not if we can get sanction from the Aesir. And we have met someone who could probably give us that sanction and would probably want to if we were willing to do this. I hold out the Zealot of Megadal thing and say, I have killed one person on a sacrificial altar in the last 3 days and have freely walked around the city because of this little gold chain. If we swap
Carbon
it out...
looks at you completely differently now.
I
was
mean,
not aware of that.
I will note that
you nuked people from orbit. Don't get moralizing on me.
That was a war.
This is a war too. I'm just positing switching sides in the war.
Turning one's coat, as it were.
Right, but if we get ourselves legally declared as Aesir zealots,
yes,
then we're going to be in the Sword World's databases as that. So anytime we show up somewhere, there's no way we're going to be effectively able to manipulate the Church of Megadal again.
I'll also remind Hervor that, because you would know this particular facet of the law, when you're acting as a zealot or with a zealot's authority, you have to wear the badge openly. So you have to be advertising that you're part of the war.
Which I don't have a problem with.
Okay.
So the other fundamental issue here is, right, I am a Marine. All of my experience is kicking in doors,
right,
glassing planets. I can't take... I didn't serve as a functionary in the government who can use databases and who can talk to people well. Killing them is the skills that the government gave me. That's all I can do.
Which could explain why the government fell. But anyway,
point taken, but it doesn't change the fact that these are the skills I have. There isn't another way for me to solve this problem.
Right. But there are other ways for us to solve this problem. So, okay.
I mean, not now. I mean, right now we have you and me.
Right. Okay. So,
also, you don't even necessarily have to become a zealot as long as you participate from a distance. You don't kick in the doors, but you can take receipt of the goods and jet out.
I keep being reminded that we have, like 3 days before we've got to go out.
Also note you still have your. I believe you guys still have your TAS box that you haven't turned in.
Yeah, we got to go do that.
Which we were going to do on our way out because it wasn't.
Oh right,
sensitive.
I remember now. Yep, that's true. My bad. Sorry.
I mean, I think we can do it in 3 hours, let alone 3 days.
Yeah, but we do it in 3 hours, and then we're wanted men for 3 days, and then
only by the church.
Well, I'm pretty sure it might take more than 3 days to get officially licensed as zealots to begin with.
I don't think so. I think one call, maybe a trip up north, and we could have it done real quick.
I don't like that solution. I think one way or another we become wanted people and then have to hide out, and then we didn't use fake IDs for our travel documents, and I think that ends in tears for us. And I don't think either of us has the skills needed to, I don't know, blow up a bridge or something.
I do.
You do? You have explosive things?
I have sapper.
That's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. I have at least 1 point in all of the skills needed to be violent. Because Marines don't really get the chance to take other skills from the life path. I wanted to take more points in like trader, or maybe take another point in musician or stuff. It's just not an option. That's why I have fighter 6 and gunner 6 and tactics 3, is because that was the skills I could learn. That's why I'm so confident that I can kick in the door, because my fighter plus strength, right, and I'm primarily a strength-based kind of combatant, is 19.
Right. And honestly, if we had more time, I think we have a lot more options. But okay, just for shits and giggles while we're looking things up. Anything coming up or being open soon, like a new construction that the BWA is making a big noise about, or anything like that could be a potential target for embarrassing mayhem?
Well, the thing is, I'm not willing to help damage the government directly, which vastly reduces our combatant abilities.
Just for shits and giggles, is there anything like that out there?
3d6, it'd be strategy, intelligence.
I do not have strategy.
So this is hard.
What about streetwise?
You could use streetwise, yep.
Okay, 3d6.
That's another way to do it.
Okay, so I have 3 in streetwise, and my intelligence is 10. So
yeah, you don't have the this is hard penalty for that.
Looking for 13 off of 3. I just made it.
So oh wait, yeah. Sorry, I had to think about something. Roll for me 2d6.
6.
And a single d6.
5.
So there is a new trait. So at the starport, or not the starport, but in the Star City, there is a expansion government subsidized expansion to the Sword World's Lines merchant company, and it's kind of the big to do that. This is the sort of thing that normally starport authorities would fund, or the merchant company itself would fund. But the Border World Authority is throwing heavy subsidies to try to speed the process and try to increase passages and cargo shipments. It's not in the port itself. It's a company that operates out of the Star Town. That kind of does the import-export facilities and sort of expanding, not just from a branch office out to like a larger warehouse and operating yard and stuff like that. It's a big investment that they're working on because the government is gonna, if it doesn't go well, they're gonna lose out on many mega credits. If this, they're already down many mega credits just for subsidizing it, but the idea is that if it goes well, then the amount of trade that comes from that will be of great help to Galantine and to the Border World Authority in general. So this is something that Sting has the Sting government has already kind of been working on, even before. It was actually one of the requirements that the Galantine government, Galantine government, or the Beater government, wanted at the council. That's the big target right now. That's the big weakness right now that most people wouldn't think of because you did Streetwise. Most people don't recognize immediately that there is a government connection to the project, because normally there wouldn't be, but there actually is, to those who know.
So, could I do another Streetwise roll to see if there is, because I'm always about following the money, and I'm hearing anything about the Church of Megatol's involvement in the government subsidizing this, or is there any connections going on there? They're just a bit damn odd.
I'll take 3d6 on that, yeah. Or a, believe this falls under curiosity as well, if you wanted to use that, but I don't know which one's better for you, odds-wise.
Honestly, it's 13 versus 7, so yeah, I think I'll go 3d6 on the Streetwise.
Okay.
Right.
Oopsie, clicked the wrong thing. Come back.
Got it.
There most definitely is a connection. The Sword World's, the Sword Worlder that is the executive for Beater is, for Galantine rather, is he's not a zealot, but he is a devotee of the Church of Megatol, who was they were the one who basically made the suggestion to the trade minister, and lobbied heavily for it to be done. It's like, here's a great idea, you should totally subsidize this. And there's rumors that they made a lot of contributions to the Galantine government and the trade minister, the new trade minister's political fund for being reappointed to their position. And that particular person is, get you a name here. Or not. Jeez, I won't do it if you don't want me to.
Seems to me there's a serious question of why a foreign religion coming out of that originated in a foreign polity is so interested and so willing to put money behind the backing of this subsidy.
What's the primary what is this liner company trade in mostly?
Passengers primarily. They help. They deal with. They're the leading one of the leading passenger liner companies in the subsector. They're actually a SOAR worldwide company. So they're a major corporation, but they're not mega quite yet. But they are a big corporation, and this is the local branch office out of Hallenport City. I should specify, because Hallenport is its own thing, and the city is the star town. Merchant functionary, Magni Meridair.
Is that that's the guy who suggested it and then lobbied hard for it and funneled the money?
Yes. And they're also known to be a church Magadal, in the streets anyway. They're known as a church Magadal devotee.
Okay. And who does he work for? The company or the government?
He works for the company.
Okay.
Like he's basically the word escapes me. He is management for the local branch. There's a word for it in functionary terms.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a ranking functionary for that branch office.
So yeah, Megatel is basically paying the government to do this for some reason. I wonder what that reason is. Maybe to, transport their cultists throughout the sword worlds and undercut further the Azer Church.
Do you think that Monkey Murder will have the answers to those questions?
Well, Mockney Murder can he seems to be kind of the church's front man for this. I mean, it's his idea. He's doing the lobbying. The church's money started being donated to the government to get this done, and then to the trade minister's campaign chest. So if he's the primary contact guy, I'm laying money, he's the main conduit for all that kind of stuff too.
And actually, at that point, I will interject that we will take a short break to stretch our legs, refill our drinks, and we'll get right back to seeing who the target of the two of you is going to be.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be right back.
We'll be back in a bit. Don't go anywhere. turn back on. And eventually, please. There we go. Everyone else back?
Yep.
One down, 2 to go. Wait. 1 down, 1 to go. Now it's Herbert's chance to blow up some buildings now.
I don't have any explosives.
Well, it sounds like a lack of preparation on your part.
I think one thing the book doesn't kind of make clear enough.
Hmm.
One point in a skill almost seems useless. Like it lets you attempt it, but it makes most rolls really difficult unless you have a really high base stat.
Yeah. You usually need at least one is like just enough training to do it. In by letter of Traveler 5, if it's not a default skill and you don't have at least one rank in it, you can't even attempt it. I just go that one step further. You can still attempt it if you have 0 in it. Just, very unlikely to make it is all. Yeah, no, it's hello. It's one of those I think like in the certifications they point out that it's like, or for like employing people on your ship, people who have at least two ranks or 3 ranks are considered good at the job, and people with 1 are like, they're trying to be. It's a hobby for them. They're not, or it's something they're not. It's not their specialty. It's just something they know how to do. But that said, we are back. Last we left off, the 2 of you were still in the grav lifter, in the executive parking area of the mega corporate headquarters branch office, in Karasbag City.
Okay. So we got Macney, Miradir. What?
No, I was responding to something in chat. I was chuckling. Also making fun of you, so deal with it.
No, that's fair.
Also, I am immaturely chuckling that their first name sounds sort of like Monkey. So what did the 2 of you do?
I thought the bear was about to suggest a course of action, so I was waiting.
Well, I mean, I think I'm kind of stuck in the fact that there's a plan here, but our 2 characters by themselves don't have the skill set to necessarily carry them out. I'm really missing the professor here with his programming capability. So seems like we proved that Miradir is the proof that he is a devotee of Megatil. The proof that Megatil is funneling cash to government for subsidies. See, I think if we get those two things, the weight of this being an unusual thing for a government to do will kind of complete the job for us. We embarrass the government by, okay, what the hell? Why is, why are they letting the Church of Megatil lead them around by the nose? Which also, yeah. So I think that's the big thing. Now, where I think maybe we start with if we can get proof from your functionary first that Mirdir is a devotee of the church, and get what information we can from your functionary.
We could just go after Mirdir himself, right?
And how?
We
How you
know
want
where
to
he
do it?
works.
Right. Again, I don't think the frontal assault is going to work in this case.
Well, I have a good reason to want to see him. I could probably just get to his office, then do the frontal assault, or I guess the rear assault. And that's because of this zealots chain. I could explain to him how much in danger he is from this group of mercenaries that's taken a contract with a shadowy megacorp, and inform him that I need to speak with him to share with him the details, go up to his office, and then actually turn out to be the mercenary who's taken the contract against him.
Okay, so what do you get out of that counter?
I can work the information out of him that is required.
That's a delicate way of putting it.
It won't be very delicate when put to Mr. Madeir.
I don't know. I still think that puts us in a bind.
As long...
Okay, I'm going to crank us up and head us back to the hotel. And when we get back to the hotel, I want to list I want to hire a forensic accountant. So I guess I want to list a job for a quick turnaround opportunity for a skilled forensic accountant and computer expert. And try and see if I can't figure out what an appropriate price for that kind of work would be. See, my plan is we hire the skills we need. You can get in there and get what, you put the fear of Megatil in him, and at the same time drop some sort of device, and then when he starts panicking and contacting people and all of this, we are basically got him bugged. Maybe we've got something that lets us download his hard drive, or
I think he'll
read his
just
keystrokes.
Give me the hard drive.
Why would he give you the hard drive if we're going the soft route?
Oh, you actually want me to convince him that someone's after him and then not extract any information?
Go in with your warning as a fellow member of the church who has standing because human sacrifice, apparently. Jesus. And then while you're in there, you can drop off the equipment, which we hopefully will get, that will let our forensic accountant do all the computer wizardry that you and I can't do. And that gives us the information we need.
I guess, but you'll need to negotiate really good rates, or this job isn't worth it.
Well, yeah, but that's why I'm going to try and first figure out how much, what a going rate for a forensic accountant be, or, basically hiring a hacker.
Well, because also on top of that, we don't have the technology you're talking about.
Right. But I mean, my thinking is that here in the 21st century United States, in a major city, you can go into a store and buy all sorts of really sophisticated spy gear for honestly not that much. So I'm extrapolating that into something fairly similar here, but we'll see. I mean, so first off, what would it cost me to hire somebody for that kind of job, that kind of quick turnaround time, GM?
Intelligence 3d6. The skill that I'm looking for would probably be broker or liaison, I suppose.
Okay, I've got broker 2 and jack of all trades 2, so I should be able to avoid the 3d6, right? Because if your skill
You avoid
plus
the
your
46.
yeah, I avoid the this is hard.
Yeah.
Even though my broker's only 2. So
Yeah.
okay. And it's intelligence and broker.
Yep.
Okay, so that is going to be a 12 on 3. I can get the number in the right box. Ah.
What was your target number?
12.
Oh, you nailed it. Cool.
Yeah.
In that event. Oopsie. In the wrong window. This window. Oops, wrong one. You're in the hotel. All right, let me get you a price as you look that up. Because there are always people who are willing to subcontract out or contract out rather their services. Just a matter of making sure you're making sure you're not overpaying for it or paying for someone who's crap at the job.
Right. I need to find that sweet spot of it's a good price for the job without overpaying or underpaying where nobody takes it in the time frame I need. Supply meets demand.
Well, they want to be. So I imagine. So there's basically, in certification terms, there's 4 types in Traveler as broad strokes: qualified, competent, experienced, and master. A master, for example, would be able to achieve a 5-die check with their characteristic and skill. Experience is 4, competence 3, qualified 1.
So I'd like prices for both competent and experienced.
Okay, I wanted to have a range, what price range you're thinking of, because like master would be like I mean, you can if you have the money for it, but no. So competent and experienced. So that was this number and this number. 4 and 5, yeah. Doi. That would be. Okay. Do. just typing up stuff on a computer, looking it up, and comparing pricing and so on. Enjoying the amenities of a gentle bear and a friggin' marine in this friggin' hotel. just the image of this.
Hotel's got a business center, right?
Oh yeah, exactly.
And who knows, Herbivore, maybe things will go sideways and you'll have to fight.
I'd rather force them to go sideways.
Wait, what? Oh.
But we're not in control of being able to get off the planet ourselves yet. That's what makes me nervous.
Just buy a ticket off world. Everything's fine.
Right. There's no way they could trace us and threaten that company and they won't let us board and the cops descend. It doesn't happen. No such thing as the TSA. Only with laser pistols.
Here. There we go. Okay, there's a faster way to do this. This is why I gave myself cheat sheets so I wouldn't have a harder time looking stuff up. There we go.
Note to self, trying to find cheat sheets that the GM doesn't have yet. Hashtag player goals.
Wrong list. This list. There we go. Wrong book. This one. You're just hiring a single person, right?
Yes, that's my thinking anyway.
It's just a one-off deal. You're not hiring me on it's just a single. Sorry, I'll redefine. So you're just hiring them for a one-off check. You're not are you hiring them for like the day or the week or something like that? Like how long do you want them to be working for you?
As long as it takes to complete the task.
Right. Okay. But probably no more than 48 hours. Or whatever the local equivalent is of 2 days.
Yeah. And then put that chart. So for a person who, for the job you're looking for, you'd be looking at someone who would charge 1,800 for the job. That's the going rate currently for a experienced. Sorry.
So that's 1,800 credits.
Yep.
Okay.
That's for the low end, and then it's 1,000 more for the next step up.
2,800.
So,
yeah. That sounds cheap at the price to me, Herbivore. I mean, so even if we go the upper end, we're getting 38. I mean, that's still $35,200 for this gig, even including expenses. And from here on out, we just remember to ask for expenses.
I'll also note that contract will cover the relevant gear to do the task that they need. So they'll have the gear that they need to achieve their job within reason. If you need to like hack the friggin'
Right.
naval yard mainframe, they're going to need a bit more of a heads up, and they need you to pay for the extra gear. But if it's like hacking, getting it, doing basic forensic accounting and hacking, then it's like that's a pad in a pocket and a wafer jack in their neck, you know.
Okay.
And the relevant skill, obviously.
So what do you think, Herbivore? Can you go in and drop whatever gear needs to get dropped while putting enough of the fear of mercenaries into the guy to have him start trying to alert people and remove records and all that kind of stuff in your wake? Ooh, you could go in as a bully boy from the church to warn him, and then like put the fear of Megatil in him to, cover up the church's tracks as much as possible. And that way he'll be trying to access the things that we need the information on. That way you get to be the bully boy.
Yeah, we can take that angle. Yeah, we can go that way.
Right. And I think we can probably, I think the way we're doing this, since we're doing it from the corporation's end, is it can be framed so that, this corporation was trying to take, advantage of the government. So maybe we don't do the government too much damage, or if so, just this one corrupt minister. So, okay, yeah, let's hire, we'll go for the upper end, the 2,800, get what you pay for.
Okay, so find the I'm looking for that one. So you're going for the upper end, an experienced person.
Yep.
Where do you want them to meet you?
They could come to the hotel and stay here with you.
Yeah.
That's easy enough for them. It's not competent but experienced. I was right. So that's okay. Yeah. They come to meet you at the hotel. They do look to be a person. They look to be a. So the person who walks into the hotel looks a little, shall I say, rough around the edges, politely.
Okay.
They definitely are in a hotel that's beyond their social standing, and they kind of stand out. But you can see their telltale, tricked out computer pad with various wires dangling out of it, a plainly shaped area for easy access to the wafer jack at the back of their neck.
It's probably not the first time this hotel's seen one of its guests hire somebody like this.
They don't look Villani or Sword Worlder. They do, but they are human. They're a type of human. It's just not immediately obvious. They do seem a bit. The person's a bit tall. Dark brown skin. Kind of glances around the room with obvious discomfort because they're in a building that they aren't used to being in. Get the feeling that they.
Do I have their name yet?
You would have the name of. From here, you would have this kind of name. Yeah. Yeah. You would just call them free.
Free. Okay.
Or
So
FR.
when they come in, I'll my friend, and walk up and put a big, chunky arm around them. I see you've been slumming again. I really don't see what you get out of it, but to each his own. Now, come with me. I'm hoping you can help me look into this. I suspect my accountant may be doing some interesting things with the books. It's so hard to find good help these days, and I'll just sort of keep talking that line as I take him to the lift and up to the room.
I'm intentionally not going to encounter this person.
Whoops, too far. There. Yeah. Free kind of, as you put your bare arm around him, he kind of, when he meets you, it's kind of a stare and then bare arm around him, and it's very obvious this person is not used to seeing signs, and they have that alarmed look of, oh god, the bear's talking, and oh god, it touched me. Oh wait, and then the slow recognition of, no, this is who I'm supposed to meet. Okay, I thought. You hear the mutter. I thought
sort of bear.
It's like I thought it was a suit. I didn't think this person was actually a bear.
So yeah, take him up to the hotel room, and then, all right, Free, this is what we need from you. I have another associate who is going to enter the office of a certain individual who we suspect of some interesting financial shenanigans. Hopefully my associate will put the fear of the stars into this individual enough where that when my associate leaves, he will immediately start contacting people, going into his files, retrieving things, etc., etc., etc. What I need you to do is to supply us with whatever equipment we need to allow you to eavesdrop, hack, crack, whatever you need to do to get us access to whatever this hopefully frightened individual starts to dig into, so that we can then take that information and see if it fits what we think we're going to find. Might also require some basic forensic accounting for you to translate whatever financial movements may be involved in his scheme.
You've seen them ponder for a bit.
I'm not asking you to move any money or touch any money. We just need proof of what's happening, where, and with whom.
Give me intelligence plus. Oops, I keep doing the wrong thing. This one, not that one. Here we go. One of your languages. Just trying to remember which one it is.
I've got Ursotic, Anglic, and
Anglic. That's what I was looking for. You're looking.
Stettel. Yeah.
Give me. Sorry, I correct myself. Give me 3d6 plus for intelligence and Anglic. As when you hear them speak back to you, you get the feeling that Anglic is definitely not this person's first language, and it's not a language they're used to speaking. They don't sound like they're from the Imperium.
Okay. So that's going to be a 19, 3 against 19.
Because you hear them using a bit of Sagamol, a bit of slang from whatever their homeworld language is.
Fair enough. To be fair, Anglic's not my first language either.
Yep. But they know enough Anglic. They know just enough Anglic to try to meet you part of the way, and right. You notice that they basically have like a couple. Like it's like one of the Anglic is one of those languages that kind of can catch other humanity languages fairly easily. Well, fairly easily compared to say Zettel to other languages. Zettel is great for Jordani and no one else. But you learn as you're talking to this person must be an Ansurian. They're one of the minor humanity species that aren't part of the larger Villani Zolomani language groups. So that's why they're talking, but they're having you get the feeling that they prefer to speak in computer language. But they eventually are able to get across what you mean, and they get across what they mean. And so translation of this, after a bit of back and forth, you eventually are able to discover, I want to have part of this up front, part of the payment up front, before I do anything. Secondly, if you want it to be a live hack, as in you want me to do it as they're talking, like in the room hacking in the building, then I want a 25% markup. But if I'm just hacking remotely and I can take my time with it, then my normal rate will be fine.
Well, this is sort of your ballywick, not mine. So based upon what I'm needing you to do, basically dig into this individual's records and find money moving from the Church of Megatil to through this individual to various government agencies and individuals. What circumstances fit your skill sets better, and what would be the ideal situation? The live hack, or you just breaking in remotely entirely?
Depends how fast you need to know it. If you need to know it as you're talking to the man, then I have to be in the building, connected into their mainframe, and hacking on the fly. But if you don't mind waiting the full 48-hour window, I can just sit here remotely, track and watch and get a full picture and verify it. Because then I can take my time and double back. But if I'm doing it, if you want like instant information on the same day and the same minute, then it's more difficult that way. So it depends on. For me, it's good either way. It's just that one's harder than the other. Speed is hard. Accuracy and speed do not match well together in that regard. Patience and caution result in guaranteed results, which is what I prefer. But if you want speed, then I can give you speed. I just charge a premium for it because I have to be there to do it. Because I can do it because we have a planetary net, and the beater he wouldn't say that. He would say the sorties here aren't terribly well versed in computer security. They're more in martial security.
So the trick on our end would be to put enough wind up our target to have him checking on things and perhaps moving things, but not trying to delete everything if we were doing a remote hack rather than an on-site. My concern is that he may try to cover his tracks, and if so, a remote hack you might not be able to as easily track that covering action. Do you understand?
I understand, but I think that I can get, even if he does, unless he has a proper data destruction service, I can comb through his deleted data and bring it back anyway, and prove that he deleted it. So if anything, it actually it highlights that he was trying to destroy evidence more than it actually covering for him. Unless he has, but it depends on how, like, is the target, I know you can only tell me so much, but is the target, we're talking planetary, subsector, sector, mega corporate? How big are we talking here? Because that tells me how likely they are to have a professional service.
Subsector corporation for the Sword World subsector. GM senior manager is like mid-level C-suite, mid-level executive.
They're just shy of becoming they're shy of becoming assistant director level. Like, they're out of the director chair, but they're at the management level. The upper management level.
Right. So not C-suite, but senior management.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll kind of describe the company. He's going to find out the company name. I'll tell him what company it is and tell him the guy's position in the company.
He could afford it, but given the company you just said, I am fairly certain he can't afford it. The sorties here, the boardies now, I suppose. The boardies here are not exactly flush with cash, so they can't be throwing money around on special data deletion services. They'd rather build up and stuff, so I wouldn't worry about them deleting too much. I could take my time on it, I'm fairly certain. But the trick is making them spook. It's making them touch things that you want them to touch, so I can see them touch it. Or see the records of them touching it, more accurately.
Fair enough. I'll tell you what. You bring me... you do good work and bring me as granular detail as possible, and I might meet that 25% bonus. How about that?
Deal?
Deal. And then I'll give him half up front, which will be 14.
Do you wire to them, or do you actually give them like hard cash? Because credits can come in both forms.
Which does he prefer?
He prefers hard cash because you can't trace that as easily.
That's what I figured.
Most roguish types don't like having their credit history being monitored.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. All right. I can do it from your room, or I can do it from the. I probably should do it from the room. The downstairs. I'm a bit. It's a bit above ground for me, so.
It's one of the advantages of being an Ursa. Nobody really expects us to dress in any way, much less appropriately. So, okay. Yeah. And then what equipment will I need to give my associate?
Oh, they don't need anything. If they're connected to the net, I can to the planetary grid. I can just plug in.
So all my associate needs to do is put the fear of stars into them.
Yeah.
The
Burn their feet, make them run. I'll see where the trail goes.
IRS. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Tarbin will contact Hervor when it's calm and go, we are ready when you are. I won't use Hervor's name or anything.
Travel. Because this person's not in the city.
Yeah,
he's at the starport. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in the Star City of Hallenport.
Right.
So, no, Arthur, we're not blowing up stars.
Oh, and the distance between here and there didn't matter either to the hacker, right?
No, because as long as because it's planetary trade, so they'll see they're on the same planet as the target, and the planet has a grid, so they're like they can grab them.
Do you want me to come with just for backup, or getaway driver?
I don't think it really matters. There's not going to be any skills involved. If skills involved, that means it's gone wrong, right? It's going to be personals, and personals only use skills if you're being violent.
Okay.
Or if they're relevant additives, they can increase the number a bit as a mod.
Yeah, but not much, not a significant amount though. And I don't think if we were going to go that route, then the bear would be the face.
So, well, I'm content to let you go and handle it then, if that works for you.
Sure.
I'll catch up on the latest findings in Ursa archaeology.
I can't fly the thing, so I'll have to take regular transport.
Yep. It's because of the subsidy for travel, you're able to get a cab fare, a commercial flight over without having to dip into your personal funds. It's within your social standing. That's what I'm driving at. Ultimately, so you two are hanging back. You are actually going to the place. So, some time goes by before Hervor is able to land at the Star City of Hallenport. And it is a very rainy day when you arrive, just pouring buckets on the city. You can see the atmospheric shield around the starport deflecting the rain, but the Star City does not benefit from that shield because it's outside the bubble. Because it's the city Star Cities are the cities that develop attached to the starport. They grow because of the starport, basically. Where do you want the driver to drop you? Like just straight up at the building, or do you want them to put you just in the plaza?
No, they can drop me off at the building.
You see the office building and are able to see that it is a rather well-established company. Because Hallenport's been around a while. This building's been here a while. It has a few floors to it. It looks kind of... it still has that Sword Worlder fortified militant quality to it. A bit of brutalism to it. Less the Vallani inspired elegance. You see the sign outside. The logo for the of a starship that seems to be cutting through the stars sort of motif.
Yeah, I'll go into the building.
You go inside and find yourself in the presence of a door clerk behind their desk who looks up at you. They see your armor and tilt their head at you a bit and shrug and greet you in Sagamal and Anglic.
In Anglic, I'll say back, let Mr. Meridir know that there is an official of the church here to see him on an urgent matter.
What sort of business would that be? They respond in Anglic. They glance at your. Do you have your zealot thing open?
I'm wearing it.
Okay. They glance at it pointedly and then look back at you when they ask that.
It's a matter of it's a church matter.
All right, you're gonna need to social your way past this person. I randomly rolled to see if this person was a member of the church, and they were just gonna be like, there was gonna be no roll at all. It's like, nah. But
It's just kind of funny because if they're not if they're not part of the church, they actually probably don't care what I'm about to do.
yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, they're being resistant for no. It's like you actually don't need to be resistant, but you know. You're persuading them. It seems like a casual strategy. Like there's no long-term thing they need to do. They just need to let you buy.
You see casual. That's carouse.
Oh, you're right. Yep.
I'm
So out of persuade discussion
thinking
items.
force of will.
Force of will. Yep.
And probably authority because of the zealots thing.
Authority. I would follow the law of similarity here because you're both of the similar social standing. Outside of the church, just a normal polity. Still gives you +1. So that's 4, 8, 9 on 3d6.
Could I argue a modifier of 1 for the having the chain?
I'll take that. That seems reasonable. Yeah.
Then that's a success.
Nice.
I assume with immediate urgency, Zealot.
The highest of urgency.
They talk into their headset and let them know that they need to speak with you urgently for zealous matters. And then, yes, sir. They tap at their computer. 5th floor, room 36.
If there's an obvious elevator, I go to it.
Oh, one moment, and they tap at their computer. You hear a laser scorching sound, and then they grab something from underneath their desk, and you see what appears to be a security toggle, and they hand it off to you. Basically, it's a custom key to let you access the elevator.
All right, I take it.
Yeah, you see there's like the general elevators for just the regular visitors to use, but since you're going to one of their management offices, you actually have to use the key to turn the lock and use the elevator, and then you have to use the key again to get to that floor. After that, though, you see the occasional wandering guard, but it's not super heavy because they're so close. Star towns are fairly well policed, so they're not too worried about major attacks. And you're here, as far as they know, you're here on legitimate business, so they have no reason to be on extra alert. I imagine you make your way straight there to their office.
Yep. And let me before I go in, get it straight. The ultimate goal is just for them to open the files. If he opens the files, you get the information.
Yeah, well, the goal is to make him think that, it's all coming apart, or somebody's after him. They're looking at this information, so he needs to, he needs to leave your conversation frightened enough to start moving things around, opening things up, trying to cover transaction tracks, maybe moving things from one account to another, making phone calls, whatever.
All right.
As you're led into the office, you do see that this, and you see throughout the rest of the building as well, that this is a fairly well furnished and functional building. It still has that brutal architecture to it, but you see on the inside of the office that it looks a lot. You see the rather opulent Magadal statue with their hand raised in blessing. You see various decorative weapons on the wall, a proud staple of any Sagmal of rank, a sword wielder of rank. The functionary kind of in his more Villani-inspired suit, but it looks very They do look a bit burly. Imagine a rather burly person in a suit meant for someone a lot more slight than they are. So they fill out the suit rather thickly. But they stand and walk around the desk to meet you and and make a gesture at you of the faith to reading zealot.
Can I take a quick look to see if there's any obvious surveillance equipment in the room?
That would be
Recon,
3d6 intelligence recon.
Sorry, I was looking over to see if there's anything else I should bring up. It's a failure.
Yeah, you're not sure.
All right.
Or there's nothing to see. You don't know.
Yeah, we're just gonna have to operate it as if there's nothing I can do about it, which means speed is the name of the game. Is he walking towards me like I'm at the door? Would you say that he's in the middle of the room, meaning he's not next to any piece of furniture? He's walking like through an empty space in the middle of the room?
When the door opened and you started coming in, he got up from his chair and came around from his desk to kind of meet you in the middle of the room.
I assume for Sword World, there's still shake hands or some similar hand grasping.
Yeah, grasping of the arms sort of thing. Sort of that warrior handshake sort of look.
Okay, I will do that. And the first sign he has that anything is wrong is that my strength is 130, as in off the charts by several orders of magnitude for a human.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not letting him go, and I'm gonna monologue at him real quick, and I'm gonna say, I've come here because I know the church's financial involvement with this. Someone has made it very lucrative for me to not be a part of the church anymore. So I am going to force you to give me everything you have on the financial records of this project and the church's involvement, or you can pay me off to leave. You also have a problem in that if I leave, even if you've paid me off, this person has hired other people to come after you. So you will need to get rid of this information. You don't have long to decide. I would start deciding. And if our conversation here is interrupted, it may go badly for me, but it will go much worse for you. And that's the end of my monologue.
That sounds like a command to me.
Basically, the thing that's different that I didn't quite share with the bear is how much I guess the bear knows I murdered someone for my position, right?
Yeah.
My social rank has gone up by 1. If I do this, I'm leaving the church, and I want to be compensated for leaving the church. But it doesn't matter. My also thought is it does not matter if he turns me down and tells me to leave. If he thinks I'm after him or someone else is after him, he goes and changes the information around. So it doesn't matter what his answer here is.
Yeah.
46. The strategy seems angry. You're being very negative.
Yes.
And
I'm
aggressive.
also using pain.
You're using
Your
pain.
relentless negativity is getting old.
And I think the law of violence applies.
Yep.
So
+3.
Oh yeah, because if your tactic is pain, you don't choose a multiplier, right? Because that is the +6 is
Yeah,
your tactic. Oh wait,
it's
is pain?
5 plus
Yeah.
6. Yep. 5
So
plus
it's
6
11
plus 3.
+3 plus my fighter skill of
Yep.
6. So that was 11, 14, 20.
On 4d6.
That's a success.
Yeah, he's thoroughly scared out of his mind. Because ow, even if you weren't trying to crush it, you're just holding him. Even that, it's a mechanical vice gripping onto your arm. Every movement is absolute resistance. It's like I can't.
I may not try to hurt him, but if he moves too much, he will hurt himself.
Yeah. So remind me again what you were trying to get him to do. Sorry.
So ultimately, right, the goal is just to frighten him enough that he gets on the computer. He's like, oh shit, there's a zealot after me. They know I'm in deep. I gotta start deleting documents. We gotta clean out, right?
Mm.
Or right, he pays me off and he says the zealot came, they're flipping sides, but there's other people coming after me, right? The zealot said other people are coming after me, right? So either he thinks I'm going to steal from him, or he thinks someone else is going to steal from him, so he's going to delete information off the computer. The other half is that he can either either he pays me off to leave, or he thinks I'm going to hurt him for not paying me off.
I follow you. Yeah. That's right.
That's what I. Does he think his security can outdo me, or should he pay me off? And the second is that he thinks, regardless of the outcome of the first decision, that he needs to delete stuff from the computer.
Roll for me a d6. What'd you get?
Oh, 2. Also, right, if he pulls out a phone or something, or like if his resistance becomes nonverbal, right?
Zealot, I don't have hard credits on me, but in my desk, and you're free to grab it from it. I'm just telling you where it is. It's on the left second drawer. You can I can open it for you or wherever you want. But I have a star pass that you can just take, and that should be. I mean, I think that's a good payment for my life. Yes.
The person who contracted me is what? So he's offering a star passage, right? Which is probably on the order of like 6,000 credits or something.
It's a multi-use for middle passage, valid for 1 year after first use. It has a value of 250,000, 250K.
No, I would take that. I say, all right, then this is how we proceed. I will let you go. I will grab the pass. You will not indicate to anyone that I have been in the building for the next 30 minutes, and then you can start trying to save yourself from the people that will come after me. If I have difficulty with security on the way out, you can see the armor I'm wearing. I will survive it, and I will find you later.
Oh, of course, honorable warrior. I wouldn't dare. I know my place.
All right, I let his arm go.
He rubs it
tentatively.
and he kind of winces, like, because you can tell he was in quite a bit of pain. He was just trying to tough it out as a sword roller, but it's like you can tough it out all you want, but there's probably like he's gonna be bruised for days now.
All right, I walk over to the desk to grab the pass.
It blows up. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah,
I was thinking the exact same thing.
I mean, the amount of explosive he would have needed for that to hurt me would have
destroyed the
turned him
building
into jelly.
Now we know who the real zealot is.
Yeah, no, you find a star pass that's valid for the current for the year 1111.
All right, I walk back towards him, and I say sternly one more time, I understand that you will need to contact people because of what's happened here. And I encourage that because, like I said, I'm not the only one after you or this information. But you must wait 30 minutes.
30 minutes. I appreciate your mercy in this regard.
Then I pull out the Zealot's chain.
Beat him with it. No.
It doesn't hold any identifying information to me, right? Because it wasn't custom made. He just pulled it out of a drawer and gave it to me.
Yeah, the emblem itself is just a badge.
Okay.
Your information, your UPP's in their computer system, but it wouldn't be on the chain itself.
Yeah. All I'm thinking, right? Obviously, they're gonna know eventually. The question is how fast.
Yeah.
So, because they already know a zealot came, this badge doesn't change that. So I hand him the badge, and I say, "Faith purchased is easily purchased by a higher bidder," and then I'll leave.
Meanwhile, back at the hotel. Oops, the wrong thing. So, what's it like being an Earth sign? He asks as he's waiting. Like, do you get hot in there, or?
What's it like being an Insurian? I've always been an Ursa.
Oh, I would never go back to the homeworld. Way too hot. Hate that place. There's a reason I left. Do you live on do you have a world full of rivers where you catch fish, or do you cook it, or?
We're not wild bears from on Earth anymore, you know.
You should ask him if he gets bananas from trees.
I actually grew up on Capitol.
Oh.
So, I grew up in the very Salean society in the middle of the Empire. As for Ursine homeworlds, well, for a long while we were beyond the edge of any human space, but now, like most places, we're on the Empire, though still just inside the Empire. We tend to like to keep our distance from Solomani reaches.
I mean, who wants to be around the Solomani?
All right.
Oh, I think our friend is panicking a little bit.
Excellent.
See him jack into his computer as he's sitting at your in your room.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a ream of numbers and letters stream by, and then they kind of glance over. Oh, they twitch their head a little bit to the side, and you can see that you can see that there are various windows that slow down and kind of parse it in a way that you can read along with what they're doing.
Ah, sweet.
All right. Well, this is a lot of information. It looks like they are trying to move as much as they can. Okay, so what I can do... actually, I'll tell you mechanically how this will phase out. So... they will give you the benefit of their higher skill. So you will you'll be rolling an intelligence roll to see which of this you can really use as and how much your character understands what they're being told about it. But this person's trying to get that information for you.
Right.
But you won't be considered this is hard because it's their skill that's kind of covering that for you. You're paying them to kind of explain this as best they can to you.
Right. And we're getting copies of all this to hand off as well, too, right?
Yeah. So... there we go. That's what I was looking for. Oh, there it is right there. Freak me. No, I take that back. Sorry, just give me a moment. I just realized that I have it backwards. They just do the roll.
No.
So I... So...
I provide moral support.
Actually, is there any skill you think that would help him? Because that would increase his target number because you'd be assisting him.
Let's see.
You're a steward, right? And this is their business is particularly tied up in being a liner. So maybe you could like help him know what's like normal from a stewardship perspective. Like, oh, they spent 90,000 on grapes this year or whatever, when really they spent like 10,000 and not 80,000 was bribes or something. They're just throwing in the grapes box. Could you?
Okay. Yeah, I could do. Steward would be one. Theoretically, trader would be one. Theoretically, since he's not that great at Anglic, my Anglic score might be one. Assuming the guy's keeping any records at Anglic. That is about it, unless luck could be used somehow.
Luck would save you if he biffs this. It would save you from being like found out. It would blunt the negative quality to it. Like I failed, but not that bad, sort of thing.
Yeah. So I think that's probably steward, trader, language, or broker, perhaps. Probably about it. I can't imagine that my computer one would really help in this case. Of course, I also have jack of all trades too. So,
the one you use would be will define the information you want from him, and that like this is what I'm looking for. It's like okay, like this is what you want him to focus on because you can grab because any of those could apply. It's just a matter of what you're trying to derive from it. Well, sorry, except for the language one. That's not the language part isn't an issue for him.
Right. I'm wanting proof that the church has been funneling money to the government, but I mean, even better if there was some document that gave some sort of nefarious reasoning behind all this funneling.
You could use your jack of all trades to have a relevant skill at 1 and assist him with that, and I would go for the most damaging thing I could.
Okay, let's do that.
Because it's off the top of my head, I would say advocate's probably the one that you're looking for, and jack of all trades takes half of it, and that's just skill relevant to that. All right, and he can either take the 48 hours and he'll roll 46. And actually, I'll tell you the math here because it's in the book, so it's not like it's hidden.
Right.
So, as an experienced person, he's aiming for a target number of 13 without your help.
Okay.
Plus your 1 puts him to 14 on 46. If he takes the 48 hours, he'll get the information you're looking for, and with 46. If you want him to get even better information or get it done more quickly, it would be 5d6 on 14.
Okay, so if he takes 48 hours, he can roll 4d6 against a 14, but if he does it more quickly, he's rolling 5d6 against a 14, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so which looks to me on the quick dice table as being a 56% chance of success versus a 22% chance of success. So I'm thinking we let him take the 48 hours.
Yep.
All right, here comes the roll.
Aha! Just made it.
So that puts us on not 122, but 124 by the time he gets
It's
information.
gracious. Oh, day-wise, I thought we were talking pages for a second.
No.
Oh, before we get to 124, can I do something?
Sure.
I want to call the bear and ask if he can set up a room. Actually, I'm gonna come by the hotel. Right, I'm gonna travel back to the hotel, give me the box, and then call ahead to the spaceport and rent a room at the spaceport under your name.
Okay.
That way, if they find out really fast who I was, they'll have difficulty finding me.
Fair
I
enough.
don't expect them to be able to pull it off in 3 days, right? They're gonna have
Right.
to. There's gonna be some investigation time. Maybe they'll figure it out in 3 days or a week, but I don't expect them to figure it out in the next 48 hours. But in case they do, I don't want to be staying in a place under my name.
Okay.
3d6 streetwise. Intelligence.
Who's making the roll?
Either of you, because I imagine you're helping each other out. So one of you's helping, one of you's leading.
Okay.
I don't have
So
any skill in this.
we're looking for 13 or less on 3. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, you're able to make the arrangements in such a way that even if they do catch on, you've made the arrangements in such a deft way that unless they want to take on the Starport Authority, they're not going to be able to get. They're not going to find the information they're looking for, and even if they did, they probably wouldn't find the right information anyway. Like you'd go to all that trouble and find out you're chasing a bear, not a sword worlder. So, good job alienating the sword world, the Spaceport Authority.
Do you want to give me the name and contact information of your army guys so that when I deliver the goods, I can deliver them to both of our contractors? Because they're both in where I'm at. Well, I mean, not necessarily. But...
No. I don't know. So the only thing is, I don't. The guy that I'm dealing with is not my friend. He's actually strong-arming my friend into helping me. Right.
Right, but the guy who hired you for information that they were...
Yeah, which, normally I'd say yes, but he's only contacted me, so I'm afraid he'll get spooked or something if suddenly a middleman he's never talked to pops in.
Or middle bear, as the case may be.
Yeah, it's
Right.
not that I don't trust the bear. It's that I don't know that the bear will get his second word out to explain the situation before that goes south.
Right. I'm just wondering, My only concern there
let me call him
having
and
to
tell you.
transmit the information to you or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna come to you to pick up the box so I can cash it in
Okay.
at the starport. But then, on my way, I'll call him and tell him, right, this is the how to get the information, and
You'll be
assuming
contacted by my associate, a bear.
yeah, you'll be contacted by my associate. Is this let me know if this is what you're looking for.
Exit stage left, pursued by an associate.
Yes.
I just made a Shakespeare joke there for everybody. Didn't appreciate that.
Do you name the person to him so he knows the name
the
of
bear?
Yeah.
What I tell him is the bear is an integral part of the team. The bear does not hold your political views, so treat this as a business opportunity, not as bringing someone else on board. The bear will deal fairly with you in business matters, so let's keep it business related. Is what I'll tell him, right?
That's fine with him. It's just more of he needs to know who.
Yeah.
There are more than one Ursine on the planet. is his point.
Basically, I just want to warn him off of trying to have a longer conversation with the bear about the bear's goals for reuniting the Sword Worlds or getting rid of the Church of Magaddle, because the bear's not interested in those things.
They're a broker for. They're your broker,
yes,
basically.
Right.
Yeah. He's fine with that. He doesn't mind doing that.
Okay.
You're vetting for them,
which is
so
fine. I wanted him to know before he said it.
Yeah.
I expected he'd be fine with it. I just wanted him to know.
Okay. Oh, they'll have my number anyway, so that many people can do it. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that can be arranged. That's easily done. What the heck was I looking at? Oh, is there anything else you're doing? You find Haven in your starport.
Just turning in the box.
Oh, yep. Yeah, you can go to the TS member desk, and you don't have to go into the lounge because you just turn over the box and they go, oh, they ask for your UPP, they know you're one of the people that they want, and they're like, okay, here's your payout.
And I assume that I only get the 7K because the other is all wired to everybody else?
Yeah, because the TS would just wire it to all the relevant people.
Alright.
Because they're a legitimate mega corporation doing legitimate business. It's like, you just carried packages for us. Okay. Here's your payment. Have a nice day. Don't worry. We paid all relevant taxes.
Yeah. Legitimate business. A couple days work and you get 7K. Illegitimate business. You get 37,000 and 90,000. I mean,
cost of living, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. The difference between very safe work, very safe and straightforward work, and if I screw this up, I'm going to jail. Or dying, either way.
I was about to say, I don't think prison was an option.
They could sacrifice you. How many bears did they sacrifice?
That's the problem. I'm not exactly like the functionary at this town hall. I'm not willing to go quietly. Because I was there and present and saw what happens when you go quietly.
You get to become your own government. You just have to be a client of someone else. That's all. It's not a big deal. All right, let's see how bad this guy is. How knee deep is he? Let's find that out together.
How screwed Meridier is?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because it depends on how connected he is, how up to his eyeballs he is in it or not, or if he's just a functionary of a rogue.
I mean, he's in it to some degree, right?
Oh yeah,
we were able to find the.
Definitely. So positive because we know he's part of it and he succeeded. So. You find evidence that is that only has a shadow of a doubt against it, but it's beyond a reasonable doubt. So it is convictable information. The only steps beyond that are beyond a shadow of a doubt and absolute. So there's like, he might, a defense lawyer might be able to reduce his sentence, but he's getting sentenced. Like, he's not getting out of this. This evidence is pretty damn big.
Does it implicate anyone higher than him?
That's worth finding out.
Because if he's convicted of bribery, right, there was someone on the other side of that bribe.
I need to figure out the level of his crime.
Are these charts in the book?
Yeah.
Or do you've got something else going?
Yeah, there's charts in the book. There's a master chart list and everything.
Where's this?
Every chart is in the book. It doesn't matter if it's even for this game.
It's near the back in the master mod tables. Ah, 1D. Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. Do I? And does it involve more than just him? So, you find evidence that for his part, he has he himself would only suffer a misdemeanor for his involvement. But however, the hundreds of people that he's connected to are all going to be linked to a various levels of treason.
Oh shit!
Because the resources are being diverted in such a way that it's of alarming benefit to the Church and Begodle, and in such a way that it connects to Jordani nobility back in the consulate. So it's one of those like.
So the.
Like this guy's is gonna have to, with this evidence, he'd plea his way out of, like the guy explains to you eventually, because he can plea his way down to like a misdemeanor, like he was just a functionary, he was just the fingernail to the much larger conspiracy. But there's hundreds of people that are gonna be,
the information he has to use to get this from a felony to a misdemeanor screws everybody else over.
Yeah. It's like,
so strategy-wise, now that we know this, I would say we have a solid contract with my contact. I don't think there's any room for negotiation here. But we did not take a contract. The person we talked to over breakfast did not want to prearrange a contract with us. Right? It was first come, first serve. So I would tell her to pull out her checkbook. If she wants it, because it's better than what she's going to get from any of her mercenaries.
Flip side is, instead of a checkbook, we might want to have her pull out her, Because I think we could use someone who owes us some big favors and some leeway with Susag in the future might be way more valuable.
Yeah, I
than
mean, I could
a
agree to
payout
that. Instead of
now.
hard cash, you could negotiate
Right.
her. But like, just when you go to talk to her, right?
Mhm.
Make sure it's understood that she owes you a vast
Yeah.
amount.
Right. I will try. So yeah, we have the information.
Yeah, he copies it. He explains it in a way that, and after that roll, he made the roll. And it's like he explains it to you. This is how it works. Here's how it all details out. Right now, and actually, what kind of some of it he did try to delete, but it's given up his position. So he's like, no, he's now tied to that information. He's basically screwed now. His only hope is to plea out and save his neck.
Yeah. Now they got him on obstruction of justice.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. Then I will give Free not only the other half of 1,400, but also the 25% of the total 28. So as a bonus, and the total, so I'll give him another 2,100 credits.
And when we get paid out, right, from her, you could probably just take that straight out before dividing it.
Okay.
Right, take the expenses out.
No.
So you can note Free as a person that you can contact again, because you paid them well and the job went well and they weren't in any danger. So if you want to hire them again, they're willing to take. You don't have to roll to find them again. It's like you have their number and they don't mind talking to you again. If you want to take them off world, there's a whole role for that if you want them to join your ship, but they will be there's someone from this planet.
He would be useful probably, but our ship only has 5 crew berths. We can't take anyone else.
Yeah, it sounds like one of the players is going to leave one of them empty. So.
Well, yeah, but it's tens of thousands of credits to get him to the ship.
I know. So that's fine. Okay.
There's almost certainly a better Darien hacker because like the Darians are used to dealing with hostile AIs.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. Fry is at a certain tech level of knowledge. So fighting against a tech level 10, or A, rather, is not, like, super challenging for your average hacker. But it's like, once you get into the upper echelons, you start talking with, sentient AIs that you have to counter-hack.
Also, right, we don't need him anymore once we get the ship, because our ship's mainframe will just be better than him at this.
You're right. So yeah, okay, I'll escort Fry out, and then I will put in a call to blanking her name, Petrov, and tell her that I have a hankering for some more of that fine Susag computer-generated cuisine.
Are you just meeting with her on your own, I presume?
I thought Herver was hiding out at the starport, right?
That's what I thought too, but I thought I'd ask.
Yeah. I mean, the only way I'm leaving the starport is if she sends a Susag branded transport for me.
So the Traveler's Hideaway. I'm staying in the starport. I'm not leaving. Why? Because people here will kill me.
I was about to say, legally here, I'm fine. 1 foot on the other side of that door is a whole different story.
Thank you for meeting me so quickly, Madam Petrov.
I presume that you have something other. Do you have any feedback about your seasoning, by the way?
I haven't had the opportunity to try it yet. Soon, however. I'm saving it for a special occasion. Thank you very much. It was a very generous gift, and the reading material proved of equal interest.
She smirks.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure our additional advertising was of great use to you. Yeah.
So I have the data you were requesting. In fact, I think you will find this to be a particularly potent binary series that should provide you with SUSAG rather, with a lever long enough to move whatever border worlds you might want to. It appears that things go quite deep and far, all the way back to Jodani, as I suspected. I should think that revealing what's in here could very well be far more damaging than any explosion or destruction were it released, and more than that could provide as I said, a powerful fulcrum for someone who might wish to have such a thing.
May I see this information?
I'll slide the storage device across.
She'll glance over it and nod approvingly. This fits within the parameters of your job. I'm willing to pay you for this.
Excellent. And since this is, I think you'll agree, something of a gold mine, or I'm not even sure how valuable gold is anymore. Something of a mineral-rich deposit.
A rich
my
vein.
Associates and I, right? That's true. My associates and I would appreciate some consideration into the future. We have some interest, particularly in the advertising materials that you were kind enough to send my way on our last meeting, that we might well appreciate some cooperation in the future. Favors are ever so much more liquid than cash in certain situations, I find.
So you want favor instead of cash?
In addition to.
Oh.
I think you'll agree that with this kind of information, a favor is a small bonus to ask for.
I'm willing to offer... I was going to offer you something, but this seems like better to offer you what you want than what you don't want. I presume you made copies of this information that you've derived, yes?
Yes.
All right. Well, I want a guarantee from yourself and your cohorts to exclusive access to this information, to the data you've collected. So I don't want you selling this off to someone else. And I'll give you the payment and your favors. I was going to double the payment, but I'm willing to give initial payment plus the favor for exclusivity. It gives more power to the information if we're the only ones who have it, after all.
That does make sense.
If you're willing to agree to that, I'm willing to agree to it without argument.
I think I'm going to take that deal. I'm going to trade 90 for a potential 500,000. And I will give her the other copy.
The only thing I'll remind is that we did take like an actual contract with the other person.
Yeah, kind of open-ended though, and if there's corruption here that we found this easily, and 10 will get you one that will find further evidence. From everything I've read and all the information I've got from TAS, having SUSAG owe us some favors is
Well,
going to be really handy in this region of space.
yeah, that would have. I agree that would probably be a great trade, except that we already told them we had it. So it might blow up in smoke now. Because, right, you're right. If we hadn't told him already, we could just find another source of corruption and sell him that. But we
Right.
did tell him that it would be coming shortly.
What's your move?
So I could always contact him back and say that didn't pan out, but we'll still keep looking. Let's see what kind of bargain. Go ahead.
She's still going to be willing to work with us in the future if you say no.
Right.
Right. It's just we might not get the same quality of jobs.
Mechanically, if you wanted to get the favor from her without the exclusivity, you'd have to do a social interaction roll to convince her to give it to you anyway. Right now, the deal is without a roll at all, she'll just give you the favors because you're giving her consideration.
Let me go for that. I'll offer her because I'm assuming we can. There should be a way to transmit this data to our other contact after a given time. We could set that up, right? Like where, the email gets sent on this date and time, kind of thing.
So you're thinking like you're thinking like a timed exclusivity idea.
Right. Like, okay, I'll tell you what, you can have this for, a week, 2 weeks, and then, it's going to go to another party. In other words, she I don't know. They can.
I don't.
Yeah. What? Because my feeling is what SUSAG will do is they'll pick the biggest fish to leverage, or maybe the biggest fish, plurals to leverage, and let the smaller fry go. But even the smaller fry will still be enough for your guy to have proven, corruption and collaboration.
So there's like on the in-game side of it.
Oops, I have.
Well, I guess no. You should try to get the best possible deal, which would be not giving her anything extra and getting something from her and being able to complete the contract.
Yeah, that's fair.
On the outside, you don't, unless the GM decides to give you a mod, you don't get anything special for actually, I guess it depends. think actually appeal to does allow payment as a tactic. Like if you're giving her something in return.
Do this because of that,
But there's other tactics you can take and get the same benefit as payment, right? Like, is there another good one for?
What page are we looking at in what book?
184.
Book 1.
Okay.
And I would probably suggest. Actually, appeal to probably is what you're going for, right? Because you're trying to say, look, we already have what we got is better than what you need. We're trying to convince her we got more than what she asked for. Which might be logic. Or flattery. You could talk about how great Susag is.
Okay, actually, I think I'm going to go for persuade discussion, because we appear to have a similar interest in the Anselholm region for probably different things. But I mean, honestly, I think with Susag, we're both probably interested in whatever plague or whatever is coming out of there.
Okay.
So that's the sort of thing I'm going to do. I've never done one of these before or read this rule set, so you have to
So-
go through it, I'm afraid.
So
if you're, sorry, go ahead.
So with the persuade would be the 3d6. Discussion, you'd have one. Your target number is 1, and then after that you would pick a. That's your strategy. So you start at 1.
Okay.
Then you would have a tactic that may be a doubler.
Which would
Okay.
Common
double to
interest.
2.
What tactic were you thinking on double to 2?
No, so all of them except for the enemies multiply by 2. So discussion with any of the tactics that are legal would get you.
Well, interest is just +1 if it's just common interest.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Which is the same as multiplying 1 by 2.
Yeah.
So, right, you're getting 2, and the highest law you can get with a persuade is +2. So you'd be trying to roll 3d6 under 4.
The highest law you can get with what now? I'm lost, guys.
So the first thing is strategy. That gets you your first number.
Right.
Then the next thing is your tactic, which will give you your doubler. The next thing is the 5 laws. So which one of these laws is the most applicable to the situation, and that adds on top of that. So you'd be discussions 1, common interest is 1, persuade sounds like similarity or similar rank in title, so +1, so you're at +3. Sorry, you're at 3 total, plus any mods I can think of on 3d6, or that you can think of.
The mod would be the quality of the job, right? That's what he's using to prompt this discussion.
Okay, now hold on. I'm not.
So the way to make that, the only real way to make this better for you on the persuade is to have a different strategy, really, because I'm not sure what mod here would help you increase it.
There's one for deliberate.
Oh, I see. Hold on. The numbers out to the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
Are
Yeah.
your starting rolls?
Your base number, yeah.
Your base number. Okay.
Yeah.
Which one is why I was suggesting appeal to, because that's a 3, and then appeal to allows logic, which like seems to me like you're arguing that you're arguing from a place of like these were the requirements and this is what was delivered.
Logic requires you to do X.
And y'all don't share a culture, so you're probably not appealing to that. You could flatter her. That was the other thing, as you could flatter her, you can include in this conversation how much you love Susag. Right? We want to make this deal the best possible deal because in the future we have such a high opinion of Susag that we want to do business with Susag again. Right.
Hold on.
Force of will is probably one you don't want to use.
Right.
I'm a bear. You will listen to me. Is enemy supposed to be common enemy?
Common enemies. We share the same adversaries.
Then actually, charming. If you could try to do charming.
The actor presents positive social cues in the conversation. I don't think that would apply here. If anything, she's the one being charming here. He didn't take her out anyway.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, we're looking at probably appeals to, actor focuses on a tactic. I honestly could go for both logic and culture. Can you do 2 tactics?
Only if you had pre-planned this out way ahead of time, because that's deliberate, carefully planned query or persuasion. Oh no, I bite that.
That allows a third one.
That's for a third one. You're right. Yep.
We haven't used a second tactic before.
After the first use of a tactic, mod -1 per use of a tactic required.
If you have another tactic that makes a lot of sense, then you should use it because you're going to get another multiplier, but you're going to take a subtraction mod. So you only want to use a second tactic when it's really going to push you forward.
Well, let's see what happens. Okay, appeals to.
Yep.
First tactic would be logic. Look, we've brought you a lot more than you were hoping for. I mean, this proves that the Jordani are messing around with the government. In the end results, or at least, and gives you a lot of leverage with the people who are currently in power. If you want to keep them there, there's your logic. So you should forget this exclusivity thing, still give me the favor and pay me. And then culture would be arguing for the target's corporate culture rather than like her culture, her social culture, because it's okay. She's Susag. We've just demonstrated in a 48-hour turnaround that we are very capable assets to her, and we're going to be very useful in the future to Susag, and building a relationship with us is probably a really good idea for her. As she pointed out earlier, we're not the normal brand of mercenaries and stuff that people are used to Susag dealing with, and at Susag it's always really good idea in that kind of corporate culture to have that kind of asset in your back pocket and ready to work for you, and you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours, kind of thing.
Yep, that falls within Susag culture. It would fall within Susag culture for sure.
Yeah. So what does it look like if I use that combination So
Where do you
appeal
where do
2 is
you
3.
where did you see the thing about the second tactic?
185 under mods.
Oh, after the first use of a mod -1 per use of a tactic. Okay.
So PL2 3 times 2 is 6 times 2 again is
12.
12
With a -1.
-1 and +1 for similarity. It's the closest thing I can think of. Yep.
So 12.
Yep.
On 3d6.
Yep.
All right. Here goes nothing, kids. Study this pages. Sorry, I was not expecting. Got it.
Yep. After a bit of back and forth, she eventually acquiesces and goes, "Well, I believe I would be a poor agent of the company if I didn't give you appropriate bonus and incentive for the quality of work in hopes that you will provide similar quality work in the future."
Right. And just to show that I'm, willing to work and appreciate your willingness to see reason in this matter, I won't give anybody else this information for 24 hours. I'll give her that for free.
I appreciate your consideration, Mr. Arctos.
Of course, Madam Petrov. A pleasure doing business with you, and I look forward to a long and mutually profitable relationship. Although I would advise you, particularly for the executive dining room, to hire a Sofont chef.
That is outside of my particular job description.
Still, perhaps something for the suggestion box. Then I will head back. I'll make arrangements to fly to the starport the next morning. When 24 hours from the point of our agreement has passed, I will contact, I'm blanking on the name, that starts with a D, and pass the information his way.
Daggerson.
Yeah.
And with that, the two of you will be able to reconvene at the starport. I imagine was the plan, along with other people who will have their relevant contacts. As I will note that the professor was requested to speak with a local imperial noble. And in turn as well, the Baronet is consulting with certain Jordani officials, which may be of use to you. But in the specific, and this is why I'm highlighting it in green, there are two parts to that I'm going to highlight to you. One, Susag now thinks positively of you. So mods regarding them are going to be a lot easier because you have helped out Susag in one of their major activities in the sector. The side effect of that is that as time goes by, roles will happen between the various vying factions. Susag currently is in the lead compared to everyone else because they have pretty good information that no one else has. How useful that will be to Daggerson, we'll have to find out next time when we all gather. But that'll be it. That'll be all for now. For those of you watching, thank you very much for watching. For those of you playing, thank you very much for playing. And we'll see you all next time.